as we approach the gate, what I really want to do, a lot of these cattle are looking at us, and as we're approaching, we take our mind off of riding and talking to our cattle before we get to the gate. If we just march in here and go to open our gate, we'll send a lot of our cattle back that maybe would have had, if they're looking at us here, we don't want to stop that. If I was going to train on my horse, right here might be a nice place. If I was going to do anything with my horse, I might just do a little stepping him back. As soon as I do a little bit outside the gate, not too much movement, I can get these cattle looking at me and seeing what I'm all about. As I ride up, and my partners, we got a plan made already. So again, I sent a couple of cattle off. I might be able to do just a little something here, just turn my horse a little bit, just try to get these cattle where instead of leaving the gate, they start looking at the gate. And you see, just by stepping my horse back, moving around, just taking these few extra seconds to get ready to go to the gate, it might be enough just to keep these cattle interested in the gate. I'd really like them to see the gate. When I turn my horse around, I don't want him swishing his tail and things like that. I'll try not to bang my gate. As I open the gate, hopefully these cattle, if they're looking at us and interested in us, they'll see the open hole. Real slow, easy movements with our horse, not anything too fast or harsh that would startle these cattle and get them out. Now as we come in, we'll all ride in together. And what we're going to do, we're going to ride right down the bunk and just make kind of a sweeping line across to our back cattle, and I'm going to be on the front to kind of direct the movement, and my partners are going to just keep that flow coming to me. So we'll try not to send them away too hard here. And I'll just wait here, and we're just going to make a line here, sweep around these cattle and try to keep them flowing towards me. As my partners kind of ride out, I'm going to come up here and just kind of come to the gate just a little more. So these cattle make sure and see that gate out. Now we'll try to keep a nice straight line, and as those cattle go around, we'll just ride right down their side and send them back towards the gate. The more organized and thoughtful we are at this, the better it is. One thing I really try to think of a lot is these cattle, when cattle are pointed different directions, they don't want to flow. When cattle get ready to go, they'll all be in the same direction. They'll all be pointed the same way. So really our job right here is to just try to get these cattle where they're all kind of headed the same way. As soon as I see that happening, I can just widen out here. And I can work from right in here and keep these cattle kind of going towards the gate. I can send, we got a nice line here. I'll keep trying to send, and we're just keeping that movement going towards the gate. We don't have to be hollering and screaming and popping our whips back here. We'll just keep riding to these cattle and keep feeding the front from the back. Now once we get everybody kind of lined up and headed the same direction, once I see these cattle, some of them are headed back, so we'll try to get them all looking out the gate, all the same direction. Once we get there, we'll go ahead and just start sending them that way. Now we've kind of ended up on the back of our cattle, which if they don't flow out, you end up on the back. So here, we keep a nice straight line, and we'll just kind of keep riding back and forth here, not get to pushing on them too hard, but we're going to send these cattle right around where there's an opening. So this little bunch here, we'll send them around to the gate. Now there's other distractions always in the feed yard, the feed truck, somebody driving through, looking at bunks, whatever. But here, if we can just get these cattle all kind of pushing through each other and finding an open hole, there we got something looking for the gate. See, and we'll just keep sending them that way. And I'll send some around this way. We want to try to keep as straight of a line back on this side as we can. What happens is if I get in too far, I'll send cattle out behind me, and that's when cattle really get to circling on us. So I'll just step straight out here to get this guy step back. Straight out, I'm gonna try to keep my line. I'll just ride into his eye, send her back. Now we got to get some movement in the back, so we'll just kind of ride back and forth here. And we'll start this movement. When we start riding back and forth in a line here, you'll see how that movement will just work right up through these cattle. Now our only goal isn't just to get this pen pulled. Our goal is to get this pen pulled. See, we get cattle moving back on us. We just got to step back, change our mind, start them over again. As we get this movement pushing up through the middle of them, they'll send our front out the gate. So we're not only thinking about getting the cattle pulled, we're trying to get these cattle pulled properly, where we don't have any weight loss or bruising issues or any of the problems that we have from cattle that we have to run around a lot. So here again, we'll just move back and forth. I won't worry too much about this guy. I'll just step straight out. I'll push her eye. I should be able to send her right back across. I'll just make sure not get too far forward. Now we're gonna have to put a little more pressure on back here to get them turned. They're all looking at us. They're not looking at the gate, they're looking at us. And what we need to do is straighten out back here and just put enough of pressure on. We don't have to yell and scream. We can just move our horses back and forth. Just by moving our horses side to side, that'll create that pressure, and that'll just cause these cattle to work their way through each other. If we've been doing our job right with our pen riding, as we talked about before, these cattle ought to be trained to go straight away from the handler. And so this way, by just creating this movement, our pen riding training should cause these cattle to just walk straight away from us. They should be comfortable walking away from us. As you can see, they're starting that movement right on through. As they start out the gate, now they've decided to go out the gate and they're just going to walk on through. This is a real nice way, once you get behind the cattle. If we could have got them started from the front, great. But now we just keep riding back and forth, keep this movement flowing through. And I'm watching my lead, but I'm also watching my partners here so I don't get in front and cause this calf to come back between us. So this straight line that we're forming here is very, very important to the gate. And I'll just step my horse back and across. If you step your horse into the cattle, a lot of times that'll send one out behind you. But this way, these cattle are just really leaving our pen nice. And if we needed to just take part of them, one of us could go to the front and count them out once they decided to go out, but we still just keep our flow going. We'll just keep moving back and forth on this line back here. We got to make sure and go in a straight line so I got to come forward and cause these cattle. I got to come into these cattle's flight zone so they move forward, but I just got to be careful. See, that was just enough to send this little bunch here. Now, if I can get my horse just a step straight back, I'll send these other cattle on this side. That should cause these other cattle over here. They've picked me up. You see them look at me? They pick me up. I can just step into their eye, right across, try to get him to switch eyes. Watch this heifer right here. When she switches eyes, then she'll go the right direction. When I move into her, it'll send her right up to the gate and keep them going on through. When cattle leave in this manner, it's really easy to ride up their side out in the alley and take your draft that you want to go to the scale with or to the truck. When you bring cattle out in this manner, you can see they don't tend to want to run back as bad. They've decided to come out of the pen. I look at this just like cattle out on the range going to water.
When shipping cattle at night, moving cattle from their home pen to loadout can create some challenges.
Well, we ship a lot of cattle here at night, and at night there's a lot more obstacles, believe it or not, because you can't see the obstacles. You got to really work with the cattle for them to see the hole, the gate, if you will. You got to put more pressure on them a lot of times, and at the same time less pressure, because you spend a lot more time sitting in the pen waiting for them to find the gate. And safety's a big issue. You can't see the cattle at night. They can come running back at you and knock a horse out from underneath you, so you really got to be on your toes. And as Kurt was talking about, you want to get them out of the pen as efficiently as possible at night too. So you really got to have guys they're minding their P's and Q's and really know what they're doing. Once you get them out in the alleyways, things can get pretty fast paced at night. There's a lot of things that can spook them, lights. There's a lot of times there's trucks rolling around, and so yeah, they get to really rolling at night sometimes, and you got to be paying attention. We have lights basically at all four corners of this feed yard, and up on top of the mill we have a big set of lights. At times it can be a little bit of an issue also. The lights can blind the cattle if the lights are set just right, where cattle don't want to go because they can't see, just like people looking into a set of headlights at night. You want to have your good horses, especially at night. You don't want to be riding a bunch of colts that don't have any idea. You don't want to have to fight your horse and fight cattle at the same time in the middle of the night. You want to have a good group of guys. You don't want to send too few of guys out to do a night job. You want to make sure you overkill on the help a little bit.
Remember these things when shipping. Have a plan before you enter the pen. Remember to catch the animal's eye and help them see the open gate. You need to keep moving in order to create movement in the cattle. Shipping cattle at night can cause more stress than during the day due to shadows and bright lights. And finally, Shipping the right way makes money.